Okay, hello everyone. My name is Katarina Anderson, and I work in teacher education at Weber State University. And I'm here today with my friend, Carrie Morrow, who is also a teacher and a master's student at Weber State. We are here today so Carrie can tell you a little bit about her thesis, what inspired her to study generative AI, and what her project is all about, and how she envisions it being implemented in education. Hi, Carrie. How are you
Hi, Dr.
doing?
Anderson. Good. How are you? I'm doing great.
Doing so well.
Good.
Um, so let's start. Tell me a little bit about what inspired you to study generative AI in education.
Yeah. I am married with 5 kids, and my husband is actually a generative or an AI expert, and in the business world. And he was always coming home talking about things that businesses needed their employees to have skills within AI. And then I have my own children who were in high school, and they were coming home saying, I would like to use AI to help me with this assignment or help me study this subject, but it's totally banned at school and we can't use it. And so I thought, how can we combine these things? How can we help businesses have employees that have the skills that they need with AI and simultaneously help students use AI to build those skills? And so the best way that I could think of to do that was to create a curriculum.
Right, so it sounds like you knew from your husband's career that this is something important for kids to learn.
Definitely,
hmm
definitely.
So, as you were preparing for your thesis, I know you did a lot of research and a lot of reading. What does research say about AI in schools?
So, research is actually really positive about integrating AI into schools. It can help both teachers and students. So, on the student side of things, it can act as a tutor, provide explanations, differentiate learning, and it can do it all in real time according to that individual student's needs. At the same time, AI can help teachers with lesson planning and giving feedback, different administrative tasks, which opens up the time for teachers to have more meaningful interactions with students.
All right, so very positive. Are there any concerns that teachers
Def-
have or that
yeah,
you found?
definitely. So that's most of the pushback, and the reason that AI isn't widely accepted in schools right now is teacher concerns. So many teachers have concerns about things like academic integrity, including plagiarism or students submitting AI generated work as their own. They're worried about whether students might lose some creativity and critical thinking skills if they're not having to do it all on their own. And another concern that's really valid is the student privacy concerns. Are students going to be putting information into generative AI that might be stored or shared by these AI models that we wouldn't want students sharing?
All right, and I know that you kind of considered all of that research as you were designing your project, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So what surprised you the most as you were reading about AI in education?
What surprised me the most, there's a model of acceptance of generative AI. So it kind of starts with resistance, and I'm not sure I really want to do that, or I'm not sure it's really going to be good. And then once you start to learn about it a little more, then the next step is curiosity. Okay, how can this help me? How can this help my students? And then after that, then it's exploration. So you start using the tool, you start exploring, okay, I'm going to try it. I'm going to see how it's going to help me. I'm going to see if I can make this work for my students. And then the last level is full acceptance and kind of being an expert in using AI. And once you get to that level, you want to help others to learn it and have these skills and you want to teach it. And so what surprised me the most was that there's this level for teachers, but it's going to be the same for students too. Like the students have kind of skipped that resistance because they've already gotten into the curiosity side of it. And so we just really need to get them to the other two levels so that they're using it correctly.
Right, so if somebody's a little bit resistant, that's a normal part of the process, and we shouldn't give up on them. That's
Definitely,
very cool.
definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to ask you is if you could maybe start introducing your product to us a little bit. So tell us about what you created.
Yeah, so for my project, I created a curriculum outline that schools can use as a starting point for implementing an AI literacy course in their schools. So rather than writing detailed lesson plans, the goal was to provide a framework that schools can adapt as the technology advances. The outline identifies key topics that students need to understand in order to use AI responsibly, ethically, and effectively. You can see on the screen here, there's 6 different sections and things that can be covered in each section, but it includes introducing AI all the way down to the scholastic use of AI.
All right. So, and you say you started with introducing AI software. I see some of the software here that we are all very familiar with. On those lines, so what platforms do you think teachers should introduce to students? And what age are we talking about here? What age students?
Yeah, so I think that this curriculum works best with probably 9 through 12, maybe even 8 through 12 grades, like grades 8 through 12. Um, as far as platforms that you should introduce, it will likely depend on what programs your school uses. So, for example, if you're a Google or a Microsoft school, you might want to focus on tools like Copilot because that's built into their
Right.
models. Chat GPT and Claude are also important because they're just so widely used as AI tools. And many of the education specific platforms like Magic School, they actually are built on models like ChatGPT. So understanding those foundational tools can help students with many different AI systems.
Effective prompting, Carrie, that just seems like a skill of its own, right?
It really is a skill on its own. It's one of the things that employers are wanting their employees to have that skill of effective prompting. And so it's one of the most important things that we can teach our students as we're teaching them about AI. So the quality of their response is going to depend heavily on how they prompt AI to give them an answer. So, if teachers really teach this skill and help them get better at it, then it actually is going to help their critical thinking about what they're asking and what the output is. And it's going to help them use AI as more of a collaborative tool than a shortcut.
Right. Okay, so speaking of that, I was just wondering, like, I'm guessing that you found some lessons and resources along the way. Will that be shared with the general public, or is that one of your plans at the end of the project?
Yes, I plan to create a publicly available website with my research and the different resources and tools that I found so that educators can access that and use that information to help them in their own classroom.
Okay, that's excellent. Um, okay, and I am so many interesting things here. What does scholastic use of AI stand for?
Yeah, so scholastic use of AI refers to using AI within a school setting. There's going to be a different expectation for how you use it in school than how you use it outside of the classroom. For instance, in business, uh, it's often encouraged that you write full reports or emails using AI so that your time is freed up for other tasks that the company needs you to do. However, in school, we don't encourage that behavior because the students still need to learn the basic skills behind doing those things. How to compose an email, when you're writing a report, where to put the grammar, like commas and periods, and how to form sentences. And it's really important that we have that base knowledge of skills so that when we do go into the workforce and AI writes the report for us, that we can go through with our critical thinking skills and our base knowledge and say, hey, this doesn't look right. This doesn't sound right. How can I change that? And go and double check it. So there's going to be a different standard for using it in school. And students need to be taught what's appropriate in a school setting and what's not appropriate.
Yeah, this also makes me think about just like how much background knowledge you'd need sometimes to be able to judge the output that you get from the AI. I was playing with it just the other day, and I mean, it's a great tool, like any tool. It's a great tool, but you still have to think critically, and you still have to go through it and make sure that you make decisions on what really fits your project and what doesn't. So, I guess my next question is, I see here that you put fact checking and hallucinations and all of that. Do you see that background knowledge um, plays a role here? And also, like, is that why you're suggesting that students should start learning how to work with AI in the ninth grade or later, or is there another reason?
Yeah, so definitely fact checking is one of the reasons that we need that background information. And it is one of the reasons that I suggest that it's not introduced until around ninth grade. Um, because this is the example that I gave in my class the other day when I let them use AI for an assignment. um, I said, if AI is taught that Abraham Lincoln was born in 1963, and you don't put on your critical thinking hat and review what AI is putting out to you, you're going to send me something that says Abraham Lincoln was born in 1963. But you know that he was the president during the Civil War in the 1800s. So you need that base information of history to be able to check what AI is telling you. And it only knows as much as it's been taught. So if it was taught incorrectly, it's going to tell you something that's incorrect. So you do need that base knowledge behind you. Yeah, these topics were chosen because they address the key skills that students need when they're using AI and to use it responsibly and effectively. So they also directly address many of those concerns that educators, so we mentioned earlier, that educators have about AI in schools, like plagiarism, misinformation, and privacy concerns. So by teaching these skills, schools can help students use AI as a learning tool rather than just a shortcut.
I mean, this is it's great, all the work that you did on on organizing these themes, deciding on the themes and the topics and what they should include. So let's dream big now. How do you envision teachers using your curriculum?
Yeah. So I currently teach at a junior high. In my junior high, every eighth grade student is required to take digital literacy. It's a semester long course. So I either envision that course becoming a year long course with digital literacy being one semester and AI literacy being a second semester, or a subsequent course that starts in ninth grade. You take your semester of digital lit in eighth grade, and then in ninth grade, you're going to be taking AI literacy as a semester long course.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Let's make
Yeah.
it happen. So let's say that it does happen, right?
Yeah.
Schools decide to expand digital literacy or open a new course. If a school wanted to start teaching AI tomorrow, what would be the first step that you would recommend for them?
Well, because teachers and students are going to go through those stages of learning that we talked about before, we would need to get our teachers learning AI like yesterday. So if you wanted to teach AI tomorrow, then your teachers need to be at that last level of expert and wanting to teach these tools and having the skills to teach these tools. So that would be the step that you would need to take first, is to get your teachers learning AI and the steps to do that.
Okay, and you said there are some resources out there that you will share on how they could start that
Yes.
project
Yes. So
for themselves.
Utah teachers right now, there's a USB Canvas course that they can take on AI right now. I took it as part of my research. And some of them can even get a grant, I think, once they finish the course.
So I had a question that I thought I was going to ask later, but I think it fits really well here with what you said. How can teachers feel less intimidated by AI?
Yeah. So just using it, like using AI and seeing how it can help them in their classrooms and how it can help their teachers. The more you use it, the more you're going to be less intimidated by it. Like any tool, right?
Hmm.
Um, I my dad was a an older gentleman and he taught before computers, right?
Hmm.
So I remember him having to try and learn how to use a mouse, and he tried to like pick the mouse up and turn it around to make it go down the screen, right? But you just pull it backwards. If you're turning it around, it's going to continue to go up, and he was so frustrated. But after using it so many times, it just becomes second nature. You know how to move a mouse now. But if he had never practiced, never done it, he would just still be frustrated like anytime he had to use, like he was forced to use a mouse, right?
Yeah.
And so the same thing is going to happen here, is that you've just got to start using it to be less intimidated
Yeah.
by it.
I think for me personally, it's also remembering to use it, remembering that I have these tools that you don't have a habit of using, right? So
Hmm.
just remembering, oh, if I'm struggling with something, especially like when it comes to brainstorming ideas or coming up with ideas, it's just that moment of, oh, I can actually use AI and use it as a personal assistant, as a dialogue friend that helps you think through things. But I think I'm getting
Definitely.
better at it, but for a while it was really hard to just remember to reach out.
To use it. And that's going to be true of any new tool, right? You're like, "Oh yeah, I can use this now." And so yeah, but then it becomes second nature. I think you were telling me a story the other day of trying to check something and you used AI because you remembered it could be a great tool.
So, what happens if schools ignore AI instead of teaching it? What do you think?
Yeah. So I think it's going to be more of a problem to ignore AI than to integrate it into schools. We already know that we have skills and opportunity gaps within education. There's the haves and the have nots, right?
Right, the
And
digital inequity. Hmm.
yes, exactly. And so, as I talked about with my husband working with industry, employers are looking for AI skills in their employees, and our students are their future employees. So the students who are taught AI skills are going to be employable, and those that aren't taught AI skills are going to have a harder time being the employable person that they're looking for. We all know that AI is taking over some of the jobs in industry, which can be scary. It doesn't have to be scary. In history, we've had jobs that have been eliminated before, like gas lamplighters, right? We don't get mad that gas lamplighters aren't around anymore.
There are
They've
no
had,
more
but
gas lamps outside.
I know they're all electric lights. Isn't that crazy? But the gas lamplighters had to adapt their skills, and perhaps they became electricians who could now fix the the street lights that are electric, right? And so the same thing, that job might be eliminated, but they still need somebody to review the output and review what AI is giving the company to make sure that the report is correct and the numbers are correct or whatever. And those are the skills that we're teaching in this class. So the students who have those skills will be the employable students.
I so agree with you. Yes.
Yeah.
It's sort of like an industrial revolution all over again, right? It's just
Mhm.
an AI revolution that we are
Definitely.
having, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So my last question is, in a perfect world, what impact do you hope your curriculum could have?
So I just hope that my curriculum just reduces some of the fear and anxiety about having AI in schools, because the studies show that when educators and students understand how to use AI and how to use it responsibly, it just becomes so much less intimidating for everyone and more of a tool that can be there to support students and teachers.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good luck with everything. Such a pleasure talking to you today,
Thank
and I
you.
hope everybody enjoys, hearing you and checking, your curriculum in the future and collaborating with you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this interview. This was great.
Wonderful. Have a wonderful day.
You too.